Hello, this is Formulas for Teachers. This is Michael Anderson. And if you've been following along, we just finished isolating the students in my class by period. These are all of my second period students. I used a query function that I made another range with this. I called that range Anderson. And then I used the query function where I queried this data, and I just looked to get the returns where column B equals 2. And this is definitely the basic way of doing it. And I could copy and paste this formula over here and then change a 2 to a 3 and a 4 and 5 and so on and get all the data. Absolutely can do that. And there's really no problem with doing that. But we're thinking of efficiency and how to do things very quickly. So with that in mind, I'm going to do things a little bit different. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy this formula. Okay. Actually, I'm going to Control X so I get rid of it. There, I'm going to go down 1. I'm going to go down to 3 and do Control V. So all I did basically is move these results down a little bit. And then these headers, I move them here. And that way I have this row 1, I have this open. Now, just because I like things to look nice, I'm going to go ahead and merge these together. And this is second period, so I'm going to do a 2 right there. And in fact, I'll even make it centered and bold so it looks pretty. And I'll even make it a little bit bigger. So it looks nice. So that's period 2, okay? Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get all this data where instead of having to type in period 2 here on this formula, I'm going to have it look up here and get that number. And this is going to be great. So I have periods 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We used the unique function to figure that out from column B on the last video. So if you don't know how to do that, check that out. So I'm going to do this really fast. I'm going to go Control C. That'll be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And so I'll go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is where I'm going to have all of my inputs. And then I'm going to go Control C, paste these headers in. Boom, there we go. So now, how do I get this? Instead of looking for this 2, I need to get this to read this up here. So this is going to require a little bit of a syntax understanding, and it's just how the computer reads numbers and letters. And for more information on this, I strongly recommend you click the link that's on the site that has all of the documentation of the query function. It kind of goes into how this works. It's easy to get it wrong, but if you follow very carefully how everything is typed in, it's also really easy to get it right as well. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to shade, so we're going to keep this where B equals. So we're just going to get rid of this piece. Let's just get rid of this stuff right here. Okay. So where B equals, now we want B to basically equal E1. So if I go B equals E1, well, that's not going to work because the computer doesn't like that. It gives you this crazy thing that really is kind of meaningless. So we have to use this very careful syntax. So we're going to do this where B equals. Now, because E is a number, E1 is a number. Now this would be different if it's a letter, if it's got letter text, but this is being read as a number, then this has got to be the syntax that we use. So it's going to be B equals, and then I'm going to close the quote. So let's go here. I'm going to close the quote there. But this is where it gets weird. I'm going to then do the end sign, like this one here, and then I'm going to type in E1. So that's the syntax that the computer likes. And if I hit enter, boom, I get them all. Now, I also have this header, which is there by default. So I'm going to go ahead and do comma 0. So I get rid of the header. So now it's just looking at E1. Now, as we know from doing formulas and stuff in Excel or in Google Sheets, because I don't have little dollar signs by these, then this reference here, E1, this is going to follow. So if I were to go Control C and go over here, now it's looking at H1 because this H changed, or this E changed to H because I went over. Then I can go Control C. And now it's looking there, boom. So now I have all of my kids and they're all done by period. So now I have all of my data, and it's all in order. So everybody's organized in order. That's great. And yeah, so now basically I'm ready to put this into the gradebook. I might do a little stuff here where I take my columns and resize them just because I like things to be kind of orderly like that. But that's how you do this. Now, what I would do here, though, is, and I won't worry about resizing these columns right now, what you would do is you would go and just essentially copy all of this and put all this in here. So basically it's redoing the same thing, but this is all for Anderson. So anytime I have a query, I'm just going to type in Bass, and then I will copy Bass there. So that's Bass. And I have to rename this range because it's still looking for Anderson. So I have to rename this range, named range. I'll make this Bass. So now here, I just change this to Bass. And those are Bass's kids. And if I just double click the range, I can click Control V and see how fast that is. Boom. So I have all of Bass's kids in just a second. And all the scores. So basically what we've done is we've taken this sheet and we've made it very usable. So I don't have to sit there and peck through all that data and try to figure out which kids were mine or any of that stuff. I have it all done. So I have this, and I could repeat this for Ms. Wangarena and Ms. Ramirez. I could do all of that, and then everybody's happy. Now, there's a few more things that I'm going to show you. Mainly is, this is everybody's data. So Coach Bass only needs his kids' data. So I'm going to show you how, in the next video, how are we going to get just this data only to Coach Bass and not any of the other data for the other teachers. And there's FERPA reasons for that. There's also just, why do they need all that information? They just, if you're a lead teacher and you're doing this for your team, this is very fast to do, but they just need the data they need so they can enter the stuff in the gradebook. Now, the nice thing about this as well is, as students continue to fill out this form, if there's kids that were absent, if there's kids that did various different things, their data would update. Everything would update, and it would just work. So the next video is going to show us how are we going to get Coach Bass, and then of course any of the other teachers, just their data. So tune into that video to see how to do that.